It came down to a brutal second half performance, some questionable decisions, some questionable shot taking and shot making, and despite Victor Wembanyama's best efforts to look like an alien, the San Antonio Spurs just could not pull this out. There is so much to dive into in this NBA Cup Finals, and I want to just say congrats to the New York Knicks to start, but Keenan, I can't help but feel that it was right there within our grasp, and I'm livid. Like, I feel like I'm going to explode with anger right now, but look, I know it's a good learning opportunity, but I think I'm going to have a hard time letting this one go, knowing how it was in our hands, and it just slipped away.
Yeah, we had opportunities in this, and just wanted to say that was great basketball. Shout out to the Knicks, but the 20 didn't it 23 or more offensive rebounds that came across, like Mitch Robinson. When Cat went down with the little calf thing, that's when things shifted because he was eating the glass. And every ball that was coming off the rim seemed to go to a Nick. And then early in the fourth quarter seemed to lead to a Jordan Clarkson three, or then late an OG, or what the case may be. But it was really the effort and the energy of the New York Knicks in that second half, getting second chance points, and then we just could not get good offensive possessions strung together.
No, we just couldn't. It was just, we got some stuff loading here on the side, so don't worry about this. But you're so right. Like, we could not string stuff together. That was a big problem. And look, when Dylan Harper, as much as I love the guy, when he is your top performer, the rookie, when you have guys like Fox, like Castle, and I understand Wemby's on a minutes restriction, that almost can't happen. But look, we're going to get into a bunch of this stuff, but we got to shout out a super chat here coming in for $5 from, damn it, Bobby.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Burns struggling the past 3 games. Why not play Sochan more? And I think that could be a fair question. Now, Jeremy Sochan, Keenan, 3 straight DNP CDs in this NBA Cup tournament. And look, he hasn't had the greatest season, but it hasn't been that bad. Sochan 6.1 points per game this year, and Harrison Barnes, we saw what's been going on the last few games, especially from 3. I mean, we take a look at Sochan's stats, they're not very pretty, and if you look at overall, like, his metrics, yikes, there's a whole lot of red there. Whoops, we got to get rid of that. A whole lot of red and a whole lot of yellow, whereas Harrison Barnes tonight, like, look, I don't think it was the worst performance ever. A nice 11 points, 3 boards, 2 assists, but 0 for 4 from 3 is almost unforgivable for Mr. 100%. Thank you for, damn it, Bobby, for the $5 super chat. What do you think about that, Keenan? I know there's so much we can look back on in hindsight and say, yes, we should have done this over that, but in a game like this, I wish we could have used some more rebounding, and Sochan's not that bad at that either.
I wouldn't have minded in the late third. It's difficult, though, because at the point in the game in which we needed him, throwing a player who hasn't played in like at 2 hours and some change of actually real-time minutes is really difficult. If it was the first half where we were lacking energy and effort, I would understand it more. But in the first half, we were flowing. The offense was flowing, the ball was moving, and we were moving with energy. It was really that late third to early fourth and throughout the fourth. And at that point, I don't think you throw Jeremy Sochan in the game, because that's really difficult to have, hey, in this highest intensity moment with all these guys warmed up and in their flow, adrenaline pumping, you're going to come off the bench cold and get in. I wouldn't have liked it there, but also overall, I do think Jeremy Sochan could help what was an issue in this game, which was hustle, energy, effort at times.
Yeah, like, I think that the energy can be there, the hustle can be there, but at the end of the day, when your best player, the guy that is the biggest counter to the Knicks, who are great on the offensive glass, when he's on a minutes restriction, I mean, what can you do? Look, Wemby did everything he could in the minutes he had. I will say, I thought Wemby had some questionable shot decisions later in this game. Like, the Knicks hit a clutch 3. If Wemby hits that 3, we're going, oh my God, this game's... But then he just bricks it, and you're like, okay, 7 for 17 from the field. This 41% is not really what you want to see. 17 shots in 25 minutes is a lot, too. Look, 18 points, 6 boards, 1 assist. Did get 2 blocks, but, like, I don't know. Like, Wemby was great. But at the same time, like, this minutes restriction kind of is the thing that killed us. But I know, Keenan, there's one guy that a lot of the fans are honing in on, and I want to see the fans' reaction to this as well. I'm going to put a poll up in the chat right now. Oh my gosh, did you like De'Aaron Fox's game? Because, look, I think that's like and not love. You don't need to love his game. Did you like it? I thought the first half was incredible, Keenan. 9 points, 8 assists, but the second half, 7 points, 1 assist. So brutal turnovers there, 5 turnovers. There was a stretch when the Knicks went on that 13-1 run. Fox was not helping his own cause at that point, and I want to see what the fans have to say about that. Did you like Fox's game? I didn't totally mind it, but again, I didn't love the fact, as much as I love Dylan Harper, and I think it's awesome that he did what he did. We'll get to that in a bit. I didn't love that he almost had to take the reins for Fox in some of these clutch moments.
Yeah, Fox late in game just it was sloppy, but the offense was sloppy too. So I can't even just only hone in on Fox.
Yeah.
He wasn't helpful, and that's what the problem is there with that with Fox is you are paid to do that. That's why you are the point guard. That's why, though we have Harper, though we have Castle, you are the guy who has been in high leverage moments, high leverage situations. So you need to calm the offense and calm things down. And at times he was kind of being lethargic and a little bit lazy with the ball, which is what led to a bad turnover when the Knicks were getting on the run in the fourth quarter. But overall, I didn't, as you spoke to with Wemby's a little bit of a shot selection late in game because the Knicks were hitting shots. We were taking rushed threes,
Yeah.
like, oh, we have to get the three here, or else this is going to be bad. As if we couldn't had 15 seconds on a possession, get to a basket, get a layup, and then get our defense set. Because that was allowing them to get in transition. When they got in transition, it was easy for offensive rebounds because the ball's going all over the place if they weren't making their first shot.
Yeah, it's like it was rough to see all around because like honestly, I hate to focus in on one thing, but like it really just was that fourth quarter, like end of the third into
Yeah,
early
that's
fourth quarter.
all it was.
And that's all it was. Like the Spurs played a great game, but the third quarter is a quarter we've struggled in this year. Usually it was the start of the third quarter. This game it was the end of the third quarter where just no one could get it going. These turnovers were bad, and like there were some there were some momentum swings in this game too. Like when Cornette got that offensive foul on Kolek that they reviewed, but then they couldn't count the three that Champagnie made. Like I don't know, it was a really weird
Huge.
game overall.
That
Like and
was
Champagnie
huge.
as well, Keenan. If people want to focus on someone, I did not love Champagnie's game tonight. Only 3 points in 25 minutes, and he did have the three that got waved off. But like again, if you look at the whole of the San Antonio Spurs tonight, there's so many guys that left a lot to be desired. And so I'm gonna end the poll on De'Aaron Fox. And while the chat was overwhelmingly negative on De'Aaron Fox, only 59% of the people voting said that they didn't like De'Aaron Fox's game. 41% said yes, so I do like to see that, but still, there's a lot of things here. But the one thing I keep seeing in the chat, Keenan, we're going to bring his picture up here in a second. Now, that's Mitch Johnson. Mitch Johnson is getting a lot of flack here in the chat, a lot of flack from fans online for the struggling rotations tonight. And I will say, one thing I didn't love is that we didn't get to see any French vanilla in a game where Mitchell Robinson gets double-digit offensive rebounds in a game where the Knicks, like you said, were just dominating that offensive glass. We got Luke Cornette, who had a decent game, 14 and 6 and 7 for 9 shooting. And of course, we got Wemby, who did his thing, but never together. And I also get it that with Wemby on a minutes restriction, you almost don't want to risk that. You almost don't want to risk having both these guys in at once. So then what happens if you have to take both guys out? You want to keep at least one fresh. But I just feel like, and I'm not necessarily criticizing Mitch's decisions because he made some great challenges tonight, and he has been incredible, especially in the games against the Thunder and the Lakers at managing it. But I just can't help but wonder, I should say, what it would have looked like if we ran some more rebound-heavy lineups and ran the guards with him. I don't know. There's some interesting thoughts to be had there.
I would have loved to have seen it early fourth quarter when they were starting to get on that run because we took Wemby out with about 48 seconds left in the third. And you see this a lot with your superstars, especially him being on a minutes restriction. Okay, let's get him a minute at the end of the third. So you have a minute into that TV timeout, into that third quarter break. So you really get him an extra little bit of rest. But Wemby had just had a 12-point stretch where it was obviously the two dunks at the basket, 2 threes, and then that mid-range shot. Why I did not like taking him out because he's a guy who plays with rhythm, especially when he's shooting. So let him shoot. And then at the fourth quarter, I would have loved to bring Cornette with Wemby in at that time because that was the time where clearly you were starting to see Mitchell Robinson get on the glass and really dish the ball out and get to second chance threes. I would have loved it then because even if it was only a couple minutes at that point in the game, you can get a rotation to where, okay, take Wemby out for 2 minutes, Luke Cornette's in for 2 after that, then you put Wemby back in, and then you go. I don't know. I would have loved them at the end of the game. That was really my issue with not playing them, because first 3 quarters, we outscored them every quarter. The second, we tied. First and third, we outscored them. The fourth quarter was 35-19. That's where we lost it. It
Yep.
was the end of the third, but really it was that fourth quarter because they just wanted it more than we did in that fourth quarter. And that's it's bad because we wanted it more throughout the game.
Yeah, we really did. And like 35% shooting in the second half is not going to get it done. But look, there is some stuff to look forward to. And I want to get
Yeah,
into a couple
100%.
things here too. And before we get into it, I just want to remind we got almost 200 people in here. Leave a like on the stream if you're enjoying what you're seeing. If you want the Spurs to get revenge for this, do you know the last team to lose in the NBA Cup final? Keenan, do you know who it is?
That last year, the Bucks, who'd they play? I
It's
don't.
the Oklahoma City Thunder.
They
And do
put the
you know
Thunder.
what happened to the Oklahoma City Thunder? They went
They
on to
won
do
in
some
Game
pretty great
7.
things. They're having
They
a
won
great
in
year this year. If you want the Spurs to go win a championship this year, just like the Thunder did after losing in the finals last year, leave a like on this stream. It's just one click and it helps us out a ton. Look, there's some other stuff I want to get into here, Keenan, because there's a lot that happened in this game, right? And I want to focus on Harper and Castle and the point guard rotation. And I'm going to start right here. Kevin O'Connor tweeting this out. Dylan Harper plays like an 8-year vet. And I fully agree with that, but there's more to it than that. I saw this tweet as well from Paul Garcia. In crunch time, we're seeing for the first time Fox, Harper, Castle all on the court together, along with Vassell and Wemby. It was a small lineup with Vassell playing the 4. At that time, the Knicks had Cat, OG, and 3 guards, so a similarly sized lineup. And the Knicks were up by 8 at that point. But the Fox, Harper, Castle thing, Keenan, I wonder, right? This is something that we've wanted to see a lot of, and having these 3 guys, 3 ball handlers, is something that we really could use a lot more this year if we're being real. Like Harper especially, even just in these last few games, has shown more and more of an ability to play off the ball, shooting 5 for 7 from 3 tonight as well. Castle hit a pretty clutch 3 too. Do you think this is something we could see more, this 3 guard kind of rotation, maybe with someone else alternating with Wembanyama? Because it's a bit of a wacky one, but Mitch really trusted it late in this game.
I actually sent the message in our group chat about 2 minutes before it happened, right? Going into that timeout, I was like, I'd love to see Wemby with Vassell, Castle, Harper, and Fox. And lo and behold, it came out of timeout, and I was really happy. But I think it's something that, because of the physicality we have with Dylan Harper and the physicality with Steph Castle legitimately can guard most 4s in today's game. It just depends on obviously if they're going with a big lineup or not. But Castle, just because of his athleticism and strength, you can get a lot of versatility. That means you can switch a lot. And then when you have the great equalizer and the great eraser and Wemby in the back, it just makes it so that defensively you can be more than formidable, and then offensively you've got 4 ball creators, and then really 5 if you want to count Wemby, depending on the station and the side. But like, I love that lineup, and I'd love to see it more in spurts. It'd be kind of what our death lineup would be, what the Warriors obviously started when they had the Draymond at the 5 thing with Iggy, but it'd be kind of our version of a death lineup because you'd have Wemby, and then you'd have 4 perimeter players who could really get it done.
It gives options, right? And another thing I want to shout out with Castle, like 15 points, like a near triple-double again. Yeah, it wasn't his best shooting night. He missed a few shots in tight. We kind of all did tonight. But 12 assists, 7 rebounds is pretty incredible. Like, this dude, like, when he's healthy and rolling, Keenan, like, he's getting more assists than Fox. And that's not something I ever thought would happen, considering we talk about it all the time, how Castle came in as really a combo guard and a guy who was like the 3rd, 4th option on his own team at UConn has come in here to be like a primary ball handler for an NBA team that just made the NBA Cup final. Like, it's crazy. And it actually leads me into what I wanted to have up here next. Who was the Spurs NBA Cup MVP? Now, I only have 5 options here. If you have a different option, maybe type a different number, but you can see the options over there. Type 1 for Fox, 2 for Wemby, 3 for Castle, 4 for Harper, 5 for Vassell. And as good as Harper's game was, Keen, I want to see the chat go nuts for all these options.
I do too.
I think it has to be Castle. I think Steph Castle has to be the team's MVP in the NBA Cup. De'Aaron Fox put up some great numbers throughout this NBA Cup, but you combine Castle's defense. By the way, Harper's defense was great tonight too. You combine Castle's on-ball defense with that offensive impact every single night. I think we're going to see a lot of people type in number 3 in the chat, because that's what I would type. I'm going to type number 3 in the chat, Keenan, and I think you completely agree with me here.
30, 10, and 6 against LA. 22, 6, and 2 against the Thunder, then 15, 7, and 12 tonight. This guy, I'm not going to lie to you, because it's kind of the popularity of things. If we would have won, Wemby might have won it, like actually won the vote for it. but truly Stephon Castle was our best player. And you could almost argue with how much time Wemby's missed that he's been our best player this year. I know he's missed some time too, but like he's in the argument for that. He's been a special player this year.
Yeah.
Won Rookie of the Year last year and is going to be in the conversation for most improved. There's players like Denny Avia who's going crazy, but Stephon Castle's going crazy. Like he is upping his game. Stan Van Gundy's crush. I mean, Dwayne Wade's like, wait a second, am I seeing a taller me out there? Like they're both like they're just going crazy over this guy, and it's because it's the twitchiness, it's the athleticism, jumping off two, being able to get 2 feet in the paint almost on every possession. I loved what I saw from Castle, not to take away from Harper, Fox, Wemby, Vassell, or any of the other guys. I just love what I've seen from Castle because he's really going to be an X factor for us moving forward.
100%. He already is an X factor. It's going to be even better as we look at the chat. I mean, I don't know if anyone didn't think that it was Stephon Castle. We look there. We got the very best 6064 did say Dylan Harper. I respect that a lot. 4 and 3. It really seems to be Castle or Harper. That's what the chat is saying. And look, I honestly, I can't disagree. Like Dylan Harper has been 3 for us. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
But like Dylan Harper this last game, I mean, there's always going to be a bit of bias, of course, when you're in that last game. Who was the best player in that final game? The finals, the single game where you can be the most clutch, who shows up the most? And for us, it was Dylan Harper. And I wanted to spend maybe another minute on him because, my gosh, what an incredible game he had. 0 assists for Dylan Harper, but I want to highlight again just how efficient he was. Coming off an inefficient game against the Thunder where he was, 3 for 13? And you knew he could make some of those. Rising up to the occasion is something that not a lot of players have. They don't have that ability to do that. Dylan Harper absolutely did, and he thrived in it. But before I get your answer on that, Keenan, we got another super chat coming in here from Tony20251 with Dylan Harper on the screen. Tony, thank you so much, saying the cup is cool, but the level of competition in the West far exceeds the East. And you know what, Keenan? I'm going to say it now. If we had the Knicks in a 7-game series, I'm taking them easily, maybe 5 games. But
1999.
Yeah, so true. And if we take a look at the West now, this actually doesn't have it updated after. Well, actually, this game didn't count for our standing, so that this is correct. The Spurs are now 18-7 on the season, tied with the Lakers for the 3 seed in the West. 9-2 at home, 8-5 on the road. We were on a 3-game win streak, still technically, but I do agree with Tony. Like the West is a bloodbath, Keenan. But honestly, we've played our best basketball against the West. We got wins against the Nuggets, Lakers, and Thunder, the only 3 teams above us. And honestly, to me, that's a good omen for what's to come this season.
Didn't we have a win against the Rockets too?
Yeah, I think we do, right?
Yeah, I think we had a win against the Rockets too.
Yeah, but they're below us. They don't matter.
Yeah, but they're below us, but they're still within the realm.
Yeah,
they have the kind of the same record, maybe. But no, you were mentioning Dylan Harper, and I just wanted to say the confidence we had. He obviously had that late game winner for us a few games back. Obviously, sweeping across the lane with the right-handed layup. We are having faith in this guy in late game moments already.
Yeah.
So like. And you were right, he had no assists tonight, but when your other 2 guards have 21, that allows him to, I can really just be a scorer tonight. Okay. And a lot of those shots that he had, the 5 threes, came off of dimes, mostly from Steph Castle, if not from Fox.
Yep.
I love the way he played tonight, and it's showing big moments like that. He rises up. He's not afraid of any of these moments, which is what I love from Harper. And it makes me believe, okay, could he be the second best player on a championship team right now? Absolutely not. No, of course not. But could he contribute on a team that can get to a playoff and play in series? Absolutely. And that's what this team's obviously looking forward to. So with Harper, it's going to be difficult, especially when that's off the bench.
Yeah, 100%. But like, he can absolutely get there. Now, shout out to him too.
100. You'll get there.
He will. And I wanted to shout out him too for another reason, because we have a lot of reasons to shout out Dylan Harper, but Keenan, he was one of only 2 players for the Spurs tonight to shoot over 50% from the field. And like, it was him and Luke Cornett. And at the end of the day,
big guy.
Yeah, well, it's like, the 2 guys, maybe you'd expect, I don't know, you expect Wemby to get there, but look, we did, the thing that annoys me is that we're looking here, we did a good job of not turning the ball over, which has been a struggle all year. Now, De'Aaron Fox had 5. The entire team had 8. De'Aaron Fox had 63% of all of the team's turnovers. But, that's okay. The rest of the team did a good job. Castle, with 12 assists, 2 turnovers, a guy who was kind of not known for his assist-to-turnover ratio, has really turned it around since he came back from his little injury. And so that was great. But, like, at the end of the day, it is just the lack of making shots. 41 for 99, like just about 42, 43% from the field. The threes were not too bad, but still not great. But it was just the offensive rebounding. So I want to run to the chat though too, Keenan, because I know there's a lot of people in chat, a lot of people that probably want to hear their voices heard, and we're gonna end that last poll. I think it was if you wanted to see French Vanilla. Yeah, a lot of people did. What is up with Fox's turnover? Says Plethora. Look, I mean, who knows? He's the primary ball handler. It's gonna happen. What else do we got? Keldon and Sochan definitely the better rebounder with Luke also. Keldon is really good too. When Dylan forced the backcourt turnover, that was another thing that I think said. Dylan Harper, his defense tonight, Keenan, as much as we can praise his offense, his efficiency, his defense was arguably even better. And so, yeah, I mean, and I like this one too as well from Billy saying, don't panic. It steps to this great experience. So leave some chats. Again, channel members and donations get priority, but we love to read your guys' chats. I don't know. This is just turning into a Dylan Harper slobber fest, but I don't really care because, like, we could go through anyone in this game, right? Like, I mean, we could talk about Keldon Johnson. Like, okay, I mean, 3 points in 60 minutes, you maybe wish for a little more from him. 3 points from Champagne, you wish for a little more. Harrison Barnes missed all of his threes, as Wemby's Castle, our chat moderator, pointed out earlier in the stream. He's 0 for 12 in his last 2 games from 3. We had so many guys not show up in these clutch games. And Dylan Harper really made up for that difference, and Wemby on the minutes restriction. It's crazy that we got to where we were, and honestly, despite all the odds being against us to not only make it there, but to win the whole thing, I think we held our own and did a pretty good job, right? It was really just those last 10 minutes that killed us.
It was, and with for Barnes, it's hopefully what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and he just keeps that 0 for 12 in Vegas, and then we move on from that because like his shooting's been bad, but all this year he has been such an efficient guy for us. And that backcourt after the 3, I thought that was going to be what changed the game, and we were going to go win after that. But then we had a bad possession after that. It was a 5-point game going to that with 2:40 left. Then we got a weird, like a not too great shot from Wemby that he missed, and then they go down, and then they get a bucket there soon after. So those are the kind of plays and the moments where you're right. These are the losses where we learn and say, okay, take a breath, let's calm down. That's where the Thunder, where they're so great, is where Shea's like, okay, we're down, but we have time. He's going to get into his spot, his action, and get a great shot out of it. And if they miss it, then they still have time to get back in transition. But like those are the moments that are learning moments that I'm really interested to see how the Spurs learn from them.
Yeah, me too. There's so much to learn from this game, from this season so far. I mean, beating the OKC Thunder is such a huge part of this season. And again, like to be where we are in the standings, like I just want to remind everyone again, look at where we are in the standings, and maybe this view's better. Compared to the injury trouble we've had that these other teams, yes, other teams have missed key players like Aaron Gordon for the Nuggets or LeBron for the Lakers, whatever. Like, and even the Thunder have missed like a handful of players, which is crazy. But still, like we've dealt with some significant injuries, and like really these last couple games have been the first time that we've seen Fox, Castle, Harper, Wemby all healthy at the same time, but Wemby's still in the minutes restriction. To be 18-7, to be where we are, is something incredible that I've loved to see right now from San Antonio, and I think it's something that we can really take into the future. And speaking of the future, let's just take a little look ahead towards the next few games right now, because coming off of this, the best way to get right back on track after a brutal, heartbreaking loss is to get some wins against teams that you should win against. And I want to take a look here as the schedule is just going to load up. The next few games, Wizards, Hawks, Wizards. As you can see, that loss to the Knicks just stands out like a sore thumb. But Wizards, Hawks, Wizards, Keenan, over the next few days, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, 3 games in just 4 days, really, right? So that's a really tightly packed schedule. And then the Thunder again back-to-back. This is a golden opportunity for the Spurs to just ramp up Wemby as much as you need to ramp him up. Let Harper kind of cook, do his thing. Let these guys find themselves, and then go into these next games against the Thunder, this stretch of games as we head into the trade deadline, as the best version of us that we can be, and hopefully continue to climb these standings.
Yes, and if I think that they're going to be pretty cautious with Wemby if they're really still worried about this injury in the back-to-back. I could almost see him not playing much against the Wizards, playing more against the Hawks, just because the Wizards we should be able to beat without Wemby, just because of how talented we are. But again, 23rd and 25th, we get back-to-back meetings with the Thunder. We showed throughout this cup that we're a team to be reckoned with. We are a force. We played very tough against a Knicks team that people expect to get to the finals in the East, and then we played against the champions in the West last year. We beat them. We get 2 more matchups with them, and now their antennas are up ready for us. If we're playing with them, we get a win. Maybe even on Christmas we get that win. We're in a good spot. I don't obviously we talk about the bad because the loss is what's looming over our heads right now when we're so close to getting something that we could hang up and achieve. But this is a long-term view. 25 games in, we've won 8 or 18-7 and one of the 2 best teams in the Western Conference, 3 best teams in the Western Conference right now record-wise. So that's all you got to say.
That's all I got to say. Absolutely. We got another donation coming in from Football Nation USA with the $5. Thank you so much for the donation. For all of you guys, for the support, for all the chats in here. It's been incredible. Spurs struggled to get defensive rebounds. Wemby was too restricted, but it's okay. We'll still make playoffs. Go Spurs, go.
100%.
Absolutely agree. We're in a prime position to make the playoffs, and I actually want to show this up again. So this is a great point. Yeah, the rebounding, whatever. Wemby on a minutes restriction, struggling on rebounding. Let's see what it looks like when he's actually healthy. Then I'll worry if we still can't do it. But as you can see on the left there, our record has actually improved. Some teams have kind of fluctuated with the record. We were at one point just 500 against teams that were above 500. Now we're 8-5 and 10-2 against teams below 500. You know what that means? That is exactly what playoff teams look like, Keenan. We do solid against the good teams, but we absolutely beat down on the teams we're supposed to beat. Yes. Yet we still have the 3rd toughest schedule left in the NBA based on our Digest Media strength of schedule rankings. So, it's not going to come easy. It absolutely isn't. But these Spurs are built to be resilient, right? A team that's already gone through some tough times this season with so many injuries to still be where we are. Like, it's kind of crazy for how young we are and how talented we are and what the future looks like. And this chat here from B Diddy 21, another super chat for $2. Thank you so much, B Diddy, saying we're going to be all right. Let's all be cool. And I completely agree with that. Football Nation, B Diddy, Keenan, there's so much to look forward to that as much as I hate that we lost this game, I can at least look forward to the future and say there is something special brewing in San Antonio.
There is something special. I mean, if we would have said, hey, we're competing in the championship of the cup and we're 18-7 and one of the top teams in the Western Conference right now, with Wemby missing time, Castle missing time, Fox missing time, if that's what we would have said at this point, everybody would have signed up for it and been happy. I'm happy right now. It's a bittersweet kind of loss, but overall, this team is in a great spot. We're as of right now, we're ahead of schedule. No one expects us to be here. We really should be a top 6 team, not have to be in the play-in, and then from there we'll compete in the playoffs against whomever we play against. Hopefully we get ourselves a great matchup, and from there we don't even have to worry about it though. Yeah. But this team will show their resilience when they step on the floor against the Wizards on Thursday night, and we'll see how resilient they are, because if this team is resilient as I think they are, that might be a double-digit win, and they might get up early.
100%. I mean, look, I'm excited because this is the kind of game that really, really stings in the moment, and there's so much we can look at that sucked in this game. But in even a week, I think we'll forget it, because in a week from today, we play the Thunder again. And, again, the Thunder, did they look back last year after they lost the Cup final? I'm sure they used that as motivation, and look where it got them. There's a lot to be gained from this game, a lot to be learned about how we played in clutch moments, how we deployed our roster, how we struggled with a minutes restriction for Wemby, but to still be where we are is absolutely incredible. There's a lot coming up, really excited about it. Keenan, any final thoughts before we head off on this night? Because I'm just excited to see how we bounce back and how we look very soon.
Last thing I just wanted to say was, though I know we hate on a lot of stuff that happens in the NBA, this NBA Cup was fun this year, and it's been fun, and it played a lot of serious, fun, tough games. We got to see high leverage moments from our stars and other stars across the league. So overall, fun. Again, I think that there's other things that Adam Silver and the NBA can tool with, but overall, I had a fun time with this, and I'm glad that the Spurs got to be in the dance for it this year.
Absolutely. Hey, end of the year, look, no matter how far we go, we'll look back and say, man, we made the NBA Cup final with an injured Wembanyama missing some games, with guys missing, like even Wemby missing the play-in games for the Cup, and even in the actual Cup tournament, like, we did what we did. Man, incredible where we were then. Look where we are now. Can't wait for the future. That'll do it for this stream. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, and hey, most importantly, subscribe. Look how close we are to 12,000 subscribers. That's you, each and every one of you tuning in to make this live stream happen. Sorry we couldn't get to all your chats. We try our best. Hey, but if you're on your way out, you could even leave one like. I want to see who is the 50th like, because we're only 5 away. way. Thank you so much for tuning in, for showing your support every single day. You know we'll be right back here tomorrow with more content after Thursday's game. So many great things coming. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host Keenan Warner. We'll catch y'all in the next one.